next guest says the president should play hardball if that's what's needed in order to get the wall built. It's that important, he says. Brandon Judd is president of the National Border Patrol Council. He joins me now. Brandon, good to have you here. You wrote an op-ed most recently where you said this is really the only thing that we should be doing as far as the border goes. We need to be more strict with it. We need the wall. We need to put effort in. And you say it's for humane reasons. It's the humane thing to do. Walk us through that explanation of why we need the wall.
Well, it is the humane thing to do. If you look at this whole family separation issue, if the mainstream media was being honest about this, they would start reporting about how children are being separated in the country of Mexico prior to coming over to the United States. When we talk about all of these children that have not been reunited with their family members, a lot of those children were separated prior to even crossing the border illegally. But when you're a Border Patrol agent like myself, and we have to deal with tracking groups that cross the border illegally, and parents are leaving their children behind knowing that we will then find them, which will be a distraction to us so that they can get away and later be reunited. This is an issue that we have to look at. It is a very humane issue. If we build the walls in strategic locations, we will then be able to control where illegal immigration takes place, and our country will become a much safer country. And it's very necessary.
I'm going to use some economic terms in this argument. In other words, you're trying to create the right kind of incentives, and you're trying to remove incentives for people to come here. In other words, if it's going to be that difficult because there's a wall in the way, you're less likely to try and sneak yourself or your child across the border. And if you're less likely to do it, then your child and yourself are less likely to come into any kind of harm via coyotes, et cetera, that may be taking advantage of you. Is that the thinking?
Well, what we're doing is we're incentivizing these criminal organizations. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's a business. That's exactly what it is. These individuals that are coming here and asking for asylum, they can do it legally. They can present themselves at ports of entry. They can give their credible fear claims there. But it's the criminal cartels that force these people to cross the border at points other than ports of entry, which then, of course, drains our resources. Again, that's why we need to be able to control where illegal immigration takes place. I mean, all you have to do is look at McAllen, Texas right now. Over the weekend, there was this mass hysteria at a mall where it was thought that it was an active shooter situation. The FBI, ATF, Border Patrol, all kinds of law enforcement were called to the mall, and it turns out that these individuals, they're believed to be illegal aliens that crossed the border illegally, that if we would have had a wall, it wouldn't have happened.
A lot of people would pick that apart and say, a wall's not going to do it. You need to have a whole lot more than just the wall. But let me get to this for a moment, because Philadelphia, they have a mayor there who is scrapping the agreement that Philadelphia has with ICE in terms of data sharing. I want you to listen to this, and I want your reaction. Here we go.
We cannot in good conscience allow the agreement to continue. It is frankly abhorrent that in 2018, a federal agency engages in practices that essentially targets law-abiding citizens.
What do you think of that?
They're not law-abiding citizens. They crossed the border illegally. They're in the country illegally. They've broken our laws. Now, and everybody's going to say that, well, just the act of crossing the border illegally, that's a misdemeanor crime. And if it's the first time, that's absolutely correct. But everything that they do after that, if they get a job, that's illegal. If they get documentation, that's illegal. There's a lot of different things that happen after the fact that becomes illegal. These people are not law-abiding citizens.
I want to go back to incentives, because I think you hit the nail on the head where you want to destroy incentives for people to come here illegally. Does that mean we need bigger penalties if you do come here illegally? There has been talk, for example, of criminalizing that.
Well, look in April of 2017, when President Trump started talking about all of the different sanctions that we're going to put on illegal aliens. Illegal immigration dropped to 45-year lows. That was simply because of the fear that if they crossed the border illegally, they would be detained, they would be held in custody. Unfortunately, we didn't follow through on that tough rhetoric that he gave, and we didn't create operations, we didn't create policies. If we would have had the zero tolerance policy back in April of 2017, we probably wouldn't be discussing this today.
It's pretty amazing, right? I mean, if you're a country, you should have borders. You should know who's coming in. You should know who's coming out. And the idea that somehow it's considered politically incorrect to ask for that, it seems like we're in a pretty strange state right now. Final thought, and then I got to run.
Well, it's the laws. All we're talking about doing is we're talking about properly enforcing the laws of the United States. That's not wrong, and it should be done so that we can keep the public safe. That's what we want to do.
Brandon, it's good to see you. Thank you very much.